Hi, my name is Chris Manuel. I'm currently in Houston as a surety bond underwriter for Travelers Insurance.
Christopher, what those who are unfamiliar with the insurance business, could you please briefly describe what a surety underwriter does?
Yeah, sure. A surety bond underwriter, in a nutshell, analyzes the capital capacity and character of a client to ensure that they can fulfill an obligation. A surety bond basically guarantees that that obligation will be performed.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your military background. What branch you served in, how long you served?
I was in the Marine Corps for a short 20 years and retired about 6 years in 2015.
And what was your MOS?
I was 0231 Intel Specialist.
Intel specialist. Okay, so what was your exit plan as you were getting ready to retire from the Marine Corps?
Exit plan was not executed as initially planned. I had a degree in accounting and finance and 20 years in the Marine Corps as an Intel specialist. So I thought I wanted to be in accounting. Starting over in the accounting field without the practical and only academic experience kind of limited what my options were. So I quickly pivoted and went the operations route, started focusing more on operations leadership roles, or even operations roles that had potential for advancement in time.
Okay. So why did you choose this particular career field?
Um, it was kind of it seemed logical. In the Marine Corps, much like most veterans and other branches as well, you're used to managing multiple activities at one time that basically fit the job description pretty evenly for an operations role. And for me, it seemed like an easier transition than starting over from scratch, as I was trying to branch out away from the government or military contract roles. And additionally, once you understand the operations side, it introduces you to the company as a whole, allows you to better understand the different roles and opportunities that they have, and find other opportunities if you so choose.
Mhm. Did you research this particular, insurance field and see where you could fit in, or how
And
exactly did you go about that?
initially, no, it happened by happenstance. I ended up in an operations role in New Orleans when I got out and moved to Houston. I interviewed with Travelers in a claims operations management role and was eventually hired by a former Army major who kind of understood military background and the benefit that they provide. And his boss was also a former Air Force uh, veteran who really understands the background that we bring as well. So
Okay.
it was kind of by luck and happenstance. Once I was here, I started learning more about the business, understanding what surety was, and it fit really well with my analytical background and the financial educational background that I had as well. So it was a good pairing.
You mentioned the other veterans that helped you get into this. Would you say there's a lot of veterans in your company and in this industry in particular? I mean, you don't think of, insurance or financial services necessarily as just being loaded with veterans.
Sure. Yeah. I think it varies from company to company. And any industry is going to be that way right now. You have many active duty, you have many reserve veterans as well, and they all kind of understand what you do and what you bring to the table. Traveler spends a tremendous amount of time and effort to recruit veterans and their spouses, because they're really a loyal and dedicated employee once you're able to get them.
So what do you absolutely love about your job?
I think it branches beyond the job itself. Travelers is kind of like a family. The one thing that everybody says is it's the one intangible that Travelers has that most companies don't. You have a support network that really leans on one another. And in many regards, it's much like the military, right? It's you're in the military, you're having to rely on one another. And here at Travelers, especially in my current role, you see things every day that's different. leaning on your team and collaborating really helps understand more complex deals and situations that you are seeing for the first time. Somebody else may have seen it before.
That makes sense. What would you say is the biggest challenge, or perhaps was the biggest challenge when you transitioned into this civilian role?
That's a great question. I had an answer prepared for that one, but you bring out a good point. What was the biggest challenge when I was learning? And I think is to take a back seat, humble yourself, and learn. Just be a sponge and soak in as much as you can, because the learning curve in every position is going to be steep. It's much like when you go from duty station to duty station, the roles change just slightly. The mission changes a little bit, and you have to tweak what you're looking at. Sometimes when even changing from operations to surety, the learning curve was pretty steep, and it takes time. But I think that was probably the biggest challenge, is just learning to do life all over again in a completely new role.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable though.
Yeah. Well, how did your military background prepare you for this role?
So in the military, you're balancing several ongoing projects at one time in various stages of completion. And in every role really that I've been in outside of the Marine Corps, it's been much the same way. You're balancing multiple projects, multiple activities going on simultaneously, and trying to bring them to fruition at various different times. So that's been a great benefit. Doing that for 20 years in the Marine Corps has really transitioned well to success in the roles that I've had.
Would you recommend the insurance industry in general, and this particular role in particular, to other transitioning service members, perhaps, or veterans who want to change careers?
The insurance industry as a whole, very few people ever think about it or hear about it, and it's extremely stable. It's very consistent. And in that regard, I would recommend it. It's not subject to the fluctuations of markets. Typically, you don't see the fluctuations that you do in many, say, commodity-based businesses, or like stock market fluctuations. The revenues, the expenses, they're all very predictable and very stable. So it creates job security through the years, I think. So in that regard, yes, I would recommend the insurance industry. Surety is a little bit more nuanced. Somebody with an analytical background can learn financial analysis. Somebody with financial or accounting background can learn operational and contract analysis. So if you have some of those backgrounds, I think surety is a great opportunity. It creates challenges, but every day is different, and it definitely keeps you on your toes and avoiding the mundane.
And what's your best advice for someone who's preparing to get out of the military and pursue their civilian career?
It's really a couple different things. For me, the resume was a big one. I thought my resume translated pretty well to civilian life until I handed it to somebody in the civilian world who was never around the military. And the advice I got was throw it out and start over. They couldn't understand anything. So my recommendation on a resume would be hand it to somebody that's never been around the military at all. They don't understand the language. They don't understand the jargon. They can talk to you through what you did and have it translate into actual civilian job results that are measurable in the civilian community. Also network early and often. You'll have a personal network, people you knew before you came in, people you know now, and your professional network. LinkedIn is a great opportunity to pair you up with people in the professional world. Maybe not through the company you're targeting, maybe through the industry that you're targeting. There's mentors out there in almost any industry. We pair here at Travelers, we try to pair up with as many as we can to mentor them. Even if we're not going to hire them, we still want to mentor them through the process of transition, to try to help them find the right role for them.
Great. Is there anything you'd like to add that we haven't covered?
I thank you for what you're doing. I think it's a great thing. There's many industries out there that love veterans. Travelers is a great one for me. There's programs now that were not available when I was active. They have oh gosh, what is it? I'm trying to remember the name of it. Might have to edit
ICP?
that one out. It's where somebody that's active can join on not really join, but kind of try the job out for a little bit of time. I'm trying to remember what that's called. Might
Skill
have to edit
Bridge?
that. It might be. It's something to
Yeah,
that degree.
yeah,
Yeah. There's a lot of opportunities right now that weren't available when I was there, in those partnerships that many corporations are doing with military members right now, that allow them to get a taste for corporate life before they get out. I think is very successful in many regards.
very good. Well, Chris, thanks so much for pausing your day to talk to us. Appreciate that very much.
Absolutely.